করো না একটু এইটা এনেছো 14 আছে দেখছো না 14 হবে তোমার
Hello, Nandita.
Hello, how are you, Maureen?
Good.
Oh, hi, Maureen. I didn't see you there.
Oh, hello, Karen. Now I've just come. How are you?
Good, thank you. I've had a haircut.
Lucky you. I'm waiting until it all goes down.
Right.
Elizabeth, we've got some new faces that I don't know. Do you think we should go around and have a quick introduction?
Yeah, I wasn't worried. I had mine. And I thought, oh, I'll come down later. But yes, it is the work one. So if it went off, you would have.
Oh, well, it doesn't matter. It's a good thing. I've got extra
Background.
A lot of noise. So, Elizabeth, you can start because you're at the top right on my screen.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I am Elizabeth Baxter from Villa Maria Catholic Homes, or VMCH. I'm the Dementia Services Specialist there, sort of co-chairing this meeting with Sarah.
Thanks, Elizabeth. And I'm Sarah Yates, the CEO of Caledonia Dementia Care, and co-chairing the meeting with Elizabeth. Nandita, did you want to go next?
I just have active interest in this area. You never know if you need it. So better be prepared. And I thought I'd just find out what are the early signs and things like that. If there is
Nandita, are you on our mailing list?
No.
If you would like to be, could you pop your email address into the chat or send me an email and I'll add you.
Okay, thank you.
Deborah?
I'm Deborah Coddington from Carrington Health, Access and Support Facilitator. So assisting people in the community to access support services, find home care package providers.
And Tracy?
I'm Tracy from Mercy Health. I'm a care advisor of clients over 65 who have aged care packages.
Thank you. Maureen?
Oh, hi. I've retired about 18 months ago. Prior to that, I was medico-legal secretary. In the last 13 years, I was in aged care.
Lovely to meet you. And Karen?
Hi, I'm Karen. I'm a semi-retired teacher. Have had family experience with dementia. So, yeah, just interested in the topic ongoing.
Yep, lovely. Leanne?
Oh, hi, I'm a team leader at Caledonia working with Sarah.
And Jane?
On mute. Hi, I'm Jane. I'm from Uniting. I'm the team leader of the aged community-based programs, and thought this would be helpful for me with some of our clients.
Great, thank you. The next one on my screen is Bronwyn, who's just messaged me and says she can't get her camera to work, but she can hear us. So, hi, Bronwyn.
Hi, everyone.
I'm not sure who is in their lounge room on a Galaxy S8.
That's Aparna. She's Mrs. Ray, Aparna Ray. She's, I think, not visible at the moment, but she is just keenly interested in this area. So she would like to attend and listen to the lectures.
Wonderful. Yeah. All right, good. Thank you. And Rebecca?
Hello, I'm Rebecca. I'm a early intervention dementia counsellor with Dementia Australia.
Thanks, Rebecca. And Joan?
Yes, just for interest, my husband and I.
Welcome, everybody, this afternoon. I do just want to acknowledge that most of us, in fact, all of us are probably sitting on the lands, traditional lands of the Wurundjeri people, and I wish to acknowledge them as traditional owners of the land. I'd also like to pay my respects to their elders, past and present, and Aboriginal elders of other communities who may be here today. Thank you very much for coming. I'll hand over to Elizabeth.
Yes, hello everyone, welcome. Now I'm going to introduce Felicity Baker. So Felicity is our guest speaker today, and excuse me from reading off a piece of paper here, but this is just a bit of info about Felicity. So Felicity is Professor and Head of Music Therapy at the University of Melbourne. Felicity has 28 years of practicing and researching in the area of music therapy with a focus on neurorehabilitation and dementia care. Felicity is currently the lead investigator on 3 National Health and Medical Research Council grants, including the Homeside International Randomised Control Trial, which is what she's here to talk about today. So I will hand over to Felicity. Thank you for coming along.
Thank you, Elizabeth and Sarah, for the kind invitation. I would also say, you know, I'm really honoured to be talking to you all today, but I'm also going to ask you for help as well. So I see this as a kind of a win-win. Hopefully you get something out of it, and maybe we'll get something out of it too, because we'll certainly be asking you to think about people in your workplaces who might be potential participants in our research. But I'm going to share my screen now. Elizabeth said I'm going to talk about Homeside. I am. I'm also going to talk about another study that I'm involved in as well, which is one being delivered in aged care homes. So I'll talk about two projects. So let me just make sure I get this right. Have I got that up nice? Got that up right. I'll just move all you to the side so I can see my screen. Okay, so the two projects that I'm involved in at the moment is called the Model, which I'll talk second to, and then the Homeside, which is what Sarah and Elizabeth have asked if I could talk about today. And so, what's happening here? But I thought I'd just in case you're not aware of what music therapy is, I thought I'd just do a little bit of a kind of a brief overview. So, you know, one of the things about music and its use in dementia care is that people who are living with dementia can often recall music and the memories that are associated with pairing music and memories. And so often we find that whilst, you know, people can't remember having a cup of tea 10 minutes ago, when you play them a piece of music, they can talk about all sorts of memories that they've had in the past. So this music has this kind of capacity to stimulate autobiographical recall. And we know for a fact that there's no difference between people living with dementia and healthy older people when it comes to the way they respond to meaningful music. So in a sense, music becomes a resource to and I use the expression to help us see the person behind the dementia. I should also say that this is a great week for me to be presenting to you, because you probably are aware that the recommendations from the Royal Commission into Aged Care have just recently come out. And I'm thrilled to say that after lots of advocacy work that one of the recommendations, recommendation 18, said that by June 2024, they want every aged care provider to engage a music therapist or an art therapist. So I'm absolutely thrilled that we've been recommended in that, you know, in a way that's, you know, really going to be powerful. So there have been a lot of studies in music therapy around what music therapy can do to support people living with dementia, and just thinking about the, you know, soon to be dumped aged care funding instrument, there are lots of areas that music therapy has been shown to assist with. So, for example, music can help increase the amount of food people are eating in care homes. It can assist with showering by reducing agitation and distress. There have been a lot of studies that have looked at cognition, such as, you know, being oriented to the environment. We know that there are quite a lot of studies, and it's also a strong interest of mine, around how music can help manage behaviours that are difficult for carers to deal with when they're doing their day-to-day care. And certainly music therapy has been shown to reduce symptoms of depression as well. So now I'll tell you a little bit about the first study, the Homeside study. So this particular trial is a home-based project where we teach family carers how to use music and a reading intervention, which is our kind of comparative intervention, in very strategic and targeted ways. It's been funded by the JPND Research Initiative, which stands for the Joint Programs for Neurodegenerative Disease, which is an EU, European Union initiative, and it just so happens that Australia is included in this scheme. And so I decided to lead a big bid, and we got the money. So we've got 4.2 million Australian dollars, or 2.4 million euros, something like that. I can't remember exactly. And we have 5 countries involved, and I'll take you through that in a minute. But we know that, that the challenge that Homeside is trying to address is that we want to keep people at home for as long as possible. We know that 70% of people live at home with a family caring for them, and given the increase in older people and people who are being diagnosed with dementia, that number is going to potentially increase. So we want to keep people home, but we recognise that families find this challenging, that there's a lot of burnout, and sometimes when family members can no longer manage looking after their loved one, that's when they may think about placing them into some aged care home. So we're here about looking after not just the person with dementia, but also the family carer. And we've got a health economist on our team who we've designed to look at the economic impact of our interventions as well. So how much money can it save the caregiver themselves, and also, of course, the taxpayer as well. So we're looking at things like, reduction in medication, reduction in falls, if people can stay home longer, those kinds of things. So this is the team. So I'm the international project leader, and we have a team in Australia, a team in Germany, in Norway, in Poland, and in the UK. And each country is trying to deliver our program to 100 dyads, or a carer and person with dementia each. So that's almost 500 we're collecting over the next, we've got about a year and a half of data collection to go. So what we're doing is we're empowering family members to use music in a very strategic way to enhance the care that they provide, but also what's a really important component, it's about relationships. Music therapy is all about relationships. And what we want to do is actually show carers how they can use music to have meaningful experiences with their loved one, rather than just engaging in the day-to-day care of their loved one, to actually have things to look forward to together. So rather than tell you everything, I've got this little recruitment video, because this is where, I'm really hoping that you'll see this as something exciting, that you might be able to refer people to our project, because obviously we need participants in order to demonstrate the effectiveness, and it's always time limited, so because it's limited amount of money. So we're trying to kind of drive our recruitment process forward. So I thought it would just be good to see this recruitment video, which certainly Sarah could share the YouTube link to if you wanted to pass it on to other people. it's yeah, anyway, I think I'll just play it because it'll actually tell you quite a lot. Hopefully this will work. Hello, are you caring for a person living with dementia at home? Homeside is an international research study being carried out across 5 countries that explores the impact of accessible and targeted music and reading interventions on the health and well-being of people living with dementia and their carers. The activities are designed to reduce the symptoms of dementia, enhance well-being, and provide opportunities for people to share meaningful experiences together. Importantly, you do not need to have any special musical or reading skills to participate in the study. And if you do decide to participate, you would be allocated to either music, reading, or standard care over a period of 6 months. During participation in either the music and reading programs, you would work with a trained therapist to develop individualised strategies to suit your needs and interests. And this will occur over 3 online training sessions and fortnightly phone calls. Additionally, you will have contact with one of our researchers to complete some questionnaires so we can measure the impact of the program on your health and well-being. The study is now recruiting participants in England, Australia, Germany, Poland and Norway. So if you or someone you know might benefit from taking part in this study, please contact us. We believe this research has the potential to shape and improve the lives of carers and people living with dementia for generations to come. But we do need your help to do this. So please get in touch if you would like more information about the project. So just before I move on to talk to you about the other study, one of the important things, if you are going to refer people to this study, is that there is a 1 in 3 chance that the person you're referring the study to could end up in the standard care group. So they're not guaranteed to get the music, but what they can be guaranteed of is that we will provide them with music or the reading intervention or both at the end of their participation. So they will receive it regardless. It just might not be in the study. So I think that's important that that's communicated. Otherwise, people just make an assumption straight away that they're going to get the music in the study. Oops, I'm gonna go on. So one of the things that is important to know is actually how it works. So there is some theory behind why our intervention works, and it's based in what we know about music that I talked before about it stimulating autobiographical recall. It feeds into people's personal and cultural identity because music is attached to us. It can help regulate arousal levels. So those people who are highly agitated and have high levels or hyper aroused, it can help to regulate it. Likewise, those who are more apathetic and have hypo arousal, we can bring it up to a more optimal level so that they can be more aware of their environment. And once they're more aware of their environment, they're going to be calmer. Whoever that is, would you mind just turning yourself on to mute? Sorry, it's a bit distracting. So what happens is the caregiver uses these strategies that we give them to engage them in music making, singing, dancing, bit of movement to music, some relaxation, but we give them specific strategies, how to understand what music is to be used at what time, how to read what a positive response is and what a negative response is, things like that. And then what happens is as the person living with dementia is responding, this gives the carer an opportunity to share this meaningful time with them, which also has a flow-on effect of giving the caregiver positive experiences and pleasure, and helps them cope and makes them more resilient in their care and their caregiving, which of course then flows on to having a better quality care provided to the person living with dementia, which means that they are more likely to stay home longer. So we're caring for both the person with dementia and the carer. Sorry, 1 second. I just wanted to just give you a little bit of a demonstration here of what we would be teaching the carers to do. So in this particular example, the carer is a daughter and she's caring for her mother. And what she's doing here, she's being shown how to use music for reminiscence. So they will sing a song or listen to a song together, and then Joanne, the daughter, is to ask and engage her mother in a dialogue. You know, do you remember when we did this, and things like that are associated, memories that are associated with the song. But in this particular demonstration, you will see that her mother actually has quite a negative response to the piece of music and becomes agitated. And so what we've done is shown Joanne how to then regulate her arousal by doing some movement with her. So she follows her and attunes to her arousal level. So I'll play this for you.
I love you as I never loved before. Since the first I met you on the village green.
But today, something about the song causes Mum to become agitated.
Mum, are you all right?
Joanne remembers Felicity explaining how music with a strong and fast beat can help express agitated energy.
It's all right, Mum.
She puts on some music that she thinks will engage her mum and encourages her to dance.
Spin me, Mum, spin me. Yep. I remember you and Dad used to do this all the time. Here we go. In the kitchen. Dancing in the kitchen. Bit of jazz fingers. That's it.
Joanne sees that her mum is becoming calm.
So you can see from this demonstration that that Joanne has tuned in to her mother's state and is reading her signals, and then has matched the music activity as guided by us to connect with her and then calm her down, and it's quite visible. So in our study, I said before, we have a reading intervention, which is our kind of control intervention. And then we have just standard care, and then we have the music intervention. And so they have 3 training sessions, a kind of an introductory session, then 2 sort of what we would call kind of top up or sessions that extend and further develop the skills that they've been practicing. And they do this at least twice a week, but we ideally 5 times a week for about half an hour. And we take that, we work with them for the first 12 weeks, and then we come back and we assess their change in time, their change in their measures in terms of their symptoms of the behavioural and psychological symptoms of dementia. So that's our contact. Please get in touch with us, because if you've got someone you'd like to refer to our study, we would really appreciate that. And now I'll quickly take you through the second study. This is called the Medell study. It's music therapy interventions to address depression and psychogeriatric symptoms of people living with dementia. And it's in residential care homes. And it's been funded by the Australian Government, the National Health and Medical Research Council. And since we received funding for this project back in 2017, we've also had additional funding coming through from Norway, from the Netherlands, the UK, Germany and Turkey. So it's become actually an international trial now. And Australia is actually, well, thanks to COVID, Australia's study was interrupted. So we've actually completed all the sessions that we can do, because by the time we can get back into care homes, our timeline will be up, but our European countries are also just getting up and running, in fact. So the study is delivered in care homes, and the primary outcome that we're looking at is levels of depression. So people must come with a diagnosis of dementia with levels of depression as their main as the main criteria for inclusion. We're looking at how our music interventions impact neuropsychiatric symptoms and behaviours as well. We've got quality of life measures. We're looking at the stress of care home staff. So we're actually, staff are actually participants in our study as well, and we are collecting data on their stress levels over time. And we're also doing a health economics analysis. So we're looking at things like the number of hospital visits that the participants in the study have, if they have falls, if there's a reduction in medication, but we're also looking at staff, the costs of staff as well. So is there less sick leave of staff who are who are participants in the study where there are music interventions compared to in the sites where there is no music going on. So we've got two different types of interventions here. We've got what we're calling recreational choir singing, which is a kind of a scalable approach where you can imagine that all the residents in a care home are sitting in the lounge room, this sort of common lounge area, and a community musician will come in and in a sense do a kind of a sing-along in a way. It's not a performance, so they're not sitting there playing to residents, but they're engaging residents in a sing-along. And then we have group music therapy, which is much more specialised. So it's small groups of between sort of 5 and 8 people, and they and the music therapist designs music activities to meet the needs of those individual residents. I'll just skip that. Our protocol is being published in the British Medical Journal, and I would encourage you to, if interested, to go and read up on it, because it'll give you quite detailed accounts of what we're doing in the study. And just to give you a little bit of insight into what it would look like, I just see now that my slide has stuffed up a bit, but so the first video has actually been recorded at Sarah's site at Caledonia, and this is what a small group music therapy session might look like. And you'll see the way that I'm there engaging with the people there and trying to attune and connect with them. And then in the second video, which is the recreational choir singing, you can see that it's quite a different style of music intervention. And both the second video has actually been produced by Universities Australia. Our project was selected as one of 5 to highlight what useful research universities do. So it's a little bit kind of dramatised, so I apologise for that, but I'll do this one first. hopefully you can see from that the connection that I'm trying to make with the clients there. And so the second one is the one that is about the choir singing. So this is the other intervention, the large group choir singing. Oops, I need some sound.
I'm Gladys McLaughlin. I've got Alzheimer's and it is a form of dementia. Once I came, I just loved it the first day. Everyone just sings and it's so happy, and then we have a cuppa and go home and wait for next week.
One of the unique things about music is that it's connected very much with our memories and our emotions, and you can actually see them visibly change, and so you start to see the person behind the dementia.
I can remember I was in this place where I drive, and all of a sudden I sort of felt, I don't know where I am, you know. And so over the years I knew I had a problem, and then when my husband died I knew I was in trouble because he was my great carer.
We've got funding to support the largest music therapy trial of people living with dementia in the world. Music has this capacity to stimulate the pleasure centre, the sex, drugs and rock and roll centre of our brain. And so when we use music that we connect with, it affects our moods because it activates those pathways in our brain, and that they seem to be relatively preserved despite the progression of people living with dementia. So our number one rule is to choose music that was special and meaningful to them when they were in their late teens and early 20s.
I think it's the friendship. You can tell everybody just loves it. So.
Treating dementia is expensive. If music can have the same impact as these other forms of treatment, then it's obviously going to be a much more cost-effective approach.
One of our people, who's from another country, had someone here that started to sing a folk song in the language, and her husband, he's got the sort of dementia where there's no expression on the face, and when she started to sing that song, his eyes opened, and then a smile, and then he actually was singing a few words.
So in our study, we have 4 partners where we're delivering our trial: Bupa, Regis, Blue Cross and Royal Freemasons. And what happens is it's a cluster randomised controlled trial. So for those of you with a research head, what that means is we don't randomise individual people into one of the intervention groups, but we randomise the whole care home. So the care home either is in the music therapy group or in the singing group, etc. And you'll see here that we've got 3 music conditions, one where it's small group music therapy, one that's got choir singing, and then the third one has a combination of both. So we have half the intervention is music therapy and the other half is choir singing, and then we have standard care. I can tell you that thanks to COVID in March 2020, we had to cease our trial. But at that time, we had 24 care homes participating in cycles of four care homes a cycle. We had a total of 397 people enrolled. Unfortunately, we were at the 4 Freemasons sites. We had just had all their assessments, and we just had all our consent forms and everything ready to all signed, and we were ready to go. And that's when we went into lockdown. So none of them got any music in that cycle. So I feel for them, but what can we do? And what we're doing now is we're trying to just collect as much data over the phone so that we can at least have collect some more measures and have more complete data set. But we do have 12 care homes out of the 24 that we have a full complete data set for. So that's not too bad. I just showed you that, right? Yeah, and this is just what it looks like. So this is a longitudinal study, so it goes over 12 months, and they have 3 months of music interventions twice per week, and then we collect some data, and then we go down to 1 time a week for another 3 months, and then we take it away for 6 months and see what happens. So we're sort of really interested in the dose effect as well, because we do believe obviously that more frequent music therapy will be better. And one of the things that my colleagues and I are doing at the moment while we're in this COVID lockdown is we've got all the data for every single participant in the study, looking at PRN use and falls. And so we're starting to map now what happens on the days that they had music therapy interventions, and it looks like PRN use is much lower than on the days when there is no music. So I mean, at this stage, we don't have enough data to say anything conclusively. We're still going on, and we might even need our international colleagues to confirm that with their data, but it's looking pretty promising. So I think that's all I have to say, and I'm more than happy now to take some questions or have some dialogue or discussion about it. So I might end that and then stop share.
Thank you so much, Felicity. Are there any questions for Felicity? I did mute a couple of people there, so if you're unexpectedly not heard, I've muted you. I do apologise.
Sorry, it was a bit distracting. I lost my train of thought.
Any questions for Felicity?
I've got one.
Yeah,
just regarding your Homeside study, are you looking for participants at any particular kind of range of level of where they're at with their dementia, or are you just looking for the whole?
No, we do have inclusion criteria. They have to have I think it's NPIQ of less than 6. Okay. I'll check that in a minute. Yeah, less than 6. Because they have to have it severe enough that we can actually detect a change. If that makes sense. Otherwise we get that sort of ceiling effect, but pretty much any form of dementia, we will hopefully be able to look at, when we go to analyse the data, to drill down to look at dementia types and see if there's any patterns. But at this stage, recruitment is quite challenging, and so we're just happy to include everybody at this stage. And we're even looking at different types of dyads. So we're looking at spousal dyads, and we're also looking at adult child dyads, but also it could be sibling, looking after their sibling. So we're interested in all of them, because we think that because we're also focusing on the carer as well as the person living with dementia, that we might actually find some interesting things about who does it work best with. Is it best for spouses, or is it you know what I mean? We're just trying to have a look. Mm.
Yeah, and I guess that goes for ages as well, so younger onset dementia as well as the older.
Yes, exactly. And also, but we do have an exclusion criteria of any carers that are under 18.
Okay.
We did actually, believe it or not, have someone, a 16-year-old girl caring for her mother, yeah. But we unfortunately had to exclude her. Mm.
Okay, thank you.
And it's anywhere in Australia, by the way, because it's all, I forgot to mention this, it's all being done online. So it's a home program. We give them instructions about how to use music in this really targeted way, but we're doing it all online for obvious reasons. But the benefit of that is that we can actually go Australia-wide now, because I always feel sad, particularly in regional areas. They often miss out in being involved in these kind of programs. So this is good.
Maureen, I think you had a question.
Oh, I was just going to ask you, are you associated with Dementia Australia? But I see Rebecca's from there.
Yeah, we actually have our study listed on your site, Rebecca, somewhere there. But there's nothing like organisations kind of promoting it on a more personal level too. So if you do come across people that you think would benefit, do mention it, because sometimes just posting something on a website doesn't always generate interests when people talk about it. In fact, we've got a couple of people who heard about it from someone else who heard about it. So that personal connection is often really important.
Yeah, yeah. I used to work for Blue Cross and they were doing a lot on dementia.
Yes, yes. Blue Cross have been terrific partners for us. Really supportive. Mm.
I was just going to say that our website's so large that just being on the website, there's going to be a lot of people who probably don't even see it. So, yeah, happy to let everybody know that if they've got people who are wanting or interested, that, yeah, it's there.
I can provide Sarah with a link to that recruitment video, because I think that it's funny because we have been advertising the study in some closed Facebook groups, and we found we just initially had like a little advertisement that we were paying, but as soon as we put the video in there, all of a sudden we got more people making contact with us. So I think there's something about that, having something to watch and listen, and the video footage gives you some sense of what it looks like too, because sometimes it's hard to imagine from a description.
Felicity, I wanted to ask something you mentioned right at the start with the recommendations from the Royal Commission. What do you think it will look like? What will it look like, a music therapist or an art therapist in every aged care facility?
I don't know.
No, I don't know.
Because at this stage, ideally, every care home I think would benefit from having a music therapist in it, but there isn't enough music therapists at this point to do that. So I'm not quite sure how that will look. I've actually got a meeting with the Victorian Minister for Ageing next Thursday, next week. Because I'm actually going to, I don't know if I've told you this, Sarah, but I'm actually starting up my own business, and I've been planning this for 12 months now, to actually pair up music therapists with care homes. And I've developed some programs because I'm also very interested in staff training and family training. So, a lot of people come to a care home to visit their loved one. They don't know what to do. They don't know what to do. So, so sort of drawing on the strategies that we're using in Homeside, I'd really like to be able to empower families who come in to care homes to actually do something positive and skill them up, because it doesn't take a lot to transform just sitting with someone listening to music to engaging them in a conversation and making it much more meaningful for everybody. So yes. But I don't know what it'll look like yet, but I'm excited. I'm really excited that we got that kind of recognition. Yeah, I'm very happy about it. And I know that our research and the fact that the government has funded 3 clinical trials now in music therapy shows that they take it seriously. They wouldn't bother funding it otherwise.
Yeah, absolutely. Any other questions while we've got the luxury of having Felicity here as a captive audience for us? No, we're a silent bunch this afternoon. One of the things that Elizabeth and I first wanted to do with this network, Felicity, was reach out across our funded agencies and further. So, talking to professionals from research and universities like yourself and some of the other speakers coming up who are outside our traditional referral pathways, I think is fabulous. And a great reminder to us as workers that, there are so many resources out there. We need to look beyond just what our own organisation can provide, and think of all the solutions that could improve outcomes for people living with dementia. So thank you so much. That was really interesting.
Thank you. And Felicity, also with your own business, if you're interested in approaching different organisations, please do get in touch with us. I'm sure BMC is interested to get some music therapists into our aged care facilities as well. So that'd be great. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Wonderful.
So do you want me to go now?
You don't have to.
I should sing so long. No, it's been a pleasure. Thank you and thanks again, Sarah and Elizabeth, for inviting me. It's great.
Thanks for coming. It's been good.
And please, if you think of anybody who you think would benefit from participation, send them on to us, and we can tell them a little bit more about the Homeside Project. And just again, a reminder that that even if they don't get into the music condition, that we will provide them with the training at the end of their participation, regardless, for nothing. We'll do that. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
You're most welcome. If
you.
I leave, I'm not going to, because you made me co-host, didn't you?
That's
So-
all right. I'm still here as a host.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Thank
See ya.
you.
Bye, Felicity.
Thanks.
We've still got a little bit of time. We've got about 15 minutes. Does anyone have any fascinating news? Any questions for anybody who's here?
Or the other thing I wanted to throw out again is if anyone has any services or recommendations or any success stories that you would like to share and bring along to this group that might prompt us engaging with a guest presenter in future, maybe early next year. Sarah and I are always keen ears for any new ideas that we might not have heard before. So if anyone's got anything that's worked well for them, please feel free to bring it up here.
I'll also just say that anyone who's not on the mailing list, you're more than welcome to continue to come. I've put my email address into the chat. It's caledonia@caledonia.com.au if anyone would like to be added to the regular emails. These meetings are held once a fortnight, and like Elizabeth said, a range of guest presenters on different topics.
And on that as well, if you don't mind, Sarah, I'll just put your email forward as a potential portal, I guess, for any questions that anyone might have. I know we've got a few consumer voices here today, people who might be caring for a person with dementia or living with dementia themselves. If you have any questions on a personal level, feel free to email Sarah, which can be filtered through to myself or whoever's relevant, because I think collectively we're getting more and more information about what services might be available and suitable, and we can help with some of that legwork. So any questions as well, please put them forward to that email address if you don't want to voice them here.
I think that's all we had to say, wasn't it, Elizabeth? Thank you very much, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon, and we'll see you again in a fortnight.
Thank you. Thanks for letting us join in.
That's a pleasure.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. It's the most awkward part of the meeting, isn't it? No, we can't hear you, Deborah. Do you want me to chuck you out? Do you want me to close the meeting? I was being polite.
It won't let me scroll down.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No
All right,
worries.
bye.
Bye. Thanks, Elizabeth.
Yeah.
See you.
Thank you.